No character embodies the spirit of the trusted superhero companion better than Robin, Batman's ward and right hand for over 7 decades. Since 1940, Robin has fought with Batman against all threats to Gotham and the world at large, becoming one of the most cherished characters in DC's entire catalogue. Now, the Robin identity is well known, but that mantle has been held by several characters over the years. Each of these characters' tenures as the Dark Knight's sidekick were different, and have subsequently sparked debate in the fan community over which boy wonder was truly the best. I'm Ewan, you're watching What Culture Comics, and here's every Robin ranked from worst to best. Number 6. Stephanie Brown. Stephanie Brown is probably best known as Spoiler, but for a brief period she was Batman's protege following the resignation of her then boyfriend, Tim Drake. Bruce Wayne was hesitant to take her under his wing as she wasn't as adept at crime fighting as previous Robins, an instinct he probably should have trusted. Stephanie's term as Batman's field partner was as short as it was tragic. After a falling out that led to her dismissal as Robin, Brown stole some of Batman's plans to deal with the entirety of Gotham's criminal underworld in one blow. This was an obvious mistake to everyone but Stephanie, but she was determined to prove herself worthy of the uniform. To no one's surprise, really, the plan ended up being botched and then led to an all-out gang war. It also resulted in Stephanie being tortured brutally and mortally wounded by Black Mask. Of course though, Steph was revived because this is comics and no one stays dead. The good news is that, while she wasn't able to be a successful Robin, she was able to be an incredible Batgirl. Steph assumed the mantle during the brilliant Batman Reborn event in a series from Brian Q. Miller. She's back to being plain old Spoiler nowadays, but as Batgirl, the character really came into her own. Number 5. Carrie Kelly. Carrie Kelly made her debut in Frank Miller's classic graphic novel, Batman: The Dark Knight Returns. Although the works aren't part of mainstream DC continuity, there's no way you ignore an icon like Kelly, one of the coolest legacies Miller imparted on the mythos. Carrie was one of the most memorable elements in Miller's Dark Knight saga. With an origin rooted in neglect rather than loss, she began to admire Batman after he saved her from a mugging. In a world of batarangs, grappling guns, and Batmobiles, Kelly's weapons of choice included a slingshot and some firecrackers, reinforcing her childlike innocence in a story that was otherwise dark and brooding. She also saved Bats from the mutant leader and briefly aided him in the fight against Superman. Following her appearances in The Dark Knight Returns and the less successful Dark Knight Strikes Again, Kelly was written into DC continuity during the New 52 revamp, but her invaluable role as Robin in what is widely accepted as one of the greatest Batman stories of all time earns her a spot on this list. Number 4. Jason Todd. Jason Todd was introduced in Batman number 357 in 1983 and was given an almost identical backstory to Dick Grayson. His parents were circus performers that were murdered by a violent criminal, and he was then taken in by Batman. Yeah, not exactly the most compelling premise ever if we're being totally honest. After Crisis on Infinite Earths, an event that allowed DC to retcon specific parts of their universe, Jason Todd's backstory was changed, with the character becoming an orphan Batman discovered attempting to steal the Batmobile's tires. That moment exemplified Todd perfectly. Skilled, bold, and reckless, it set the stage for what would ultimately become one of the most tragic downfalls in Batman's history. Almost instantly, Jason went from being a Grayson copy to his exact opposite, and so too did Robin. Fans never warmed to Todd like they did with Grayson though, so when the opportunity came to decide his fate, they voted to kill him just narrowly. Todd was then brutally beaten to death by the Joker and left in a warehouse as it exploded. A little under 2 decades later, Jason Todd was however resurrected and took the identity of the Red Hood, a title once held by the Joker, although that part is up for debate. The persona change mirrors Bruce Wayne's logic of adopting the image of a bat, using his phobias to spark fear in others. Todd's Robin is an interesting one, and as a character, it's fair to say his post-crisis self has been slowly reappraised by readers in light of his return as the Red Hood. Said return may have been divisive in and of itself too, but whether you prefer him alive or dead, there's no denying that Todd has been transformed into a compelling addition to the Bat mythos. Number 3. Damian Wayne. Hey, can I just say how much I love Damian Wayne? The little brat was hated by everyone when he was first introduced, but that was the point. He's by far one of the best things to have happened to Batman, and another reason why Grant Morrison's stint on the character is a must-read. First appearing in Batman number 655 in late 2006, Damian is the son of Talia al Ghul, who birthed him in an artificial womb using her and Bruce's DNA. This means he is the grandson of Batman's nemesis and former tutor, Ra's al Ghul. Being the grandson of the Demon's Head means you're going to train with the League of Assassins. Under the tutelage of his mother, Damian became an expert fighter, a skilled swordsman, and acquired various other skills needed for ninja activities. The League aren't exactly diplomats, so Damian has a history of violence and even murder, which often puts him at odds with his father. He also has a far more arrogant demeanor than previous Robins, even if he has calmed down a bit in recent years. In short, I kind of think fans take Damian for granted these days. It's easy to forget he's not even in his teenage years, and yet he's far and away the bravest boy wonder out there. He overcame his mother's evil plans, battled his own internal darkness, learned to honor his father's legacy after he passed away by becoming Robin, jumped headfirst into danger during Batman Inc. and died, then returned and became a staple of the Bat family. That's pretty kick-ass no matter which way you cut it. Number 2. Dick Grayson. Dick Grayson has been the definitive Robin since his debut in Detective Comics number 38 in April 1940. Carrying the mantle for over 40 years, Grayson has followed Bruce Wayne across comics, TV, and film. He is the standard to which all other Robins have been compared. Batman's first sidekick began as a circus performer alongside his mother and father as a member of the Flying Graysons. This was until the family act was sabotaged by gangsters, leading to the death of his parents. Batman, who happened to be tracking the criminals, told Dick about his own loss and took him under his wing. In Grayson, Bats was given the opportunity to be what he needed after his parents' own demise. In his 4 decades as the Boy Wonder, Grayson proved himself to be a worthy ally to the Dark Knight. Youthful and optimistic, he became a glimpse at what a Batman relieved of his tragedy would eventually be. But of course, this wasn't where Grayson excelled the most. Dick resolved to leave Batman's shadow in the 80s and became Nightwing. He continued to grow in that role, becoming a hero in his own right until he eventually inherited the Batman mantle himself in 2009. That's an incredible trajectory, but it's also what denies Dick the top spot. He was an amazing Robin, but he was an even better Nightwing. And number 1, Tim Drake. Following the death of Jason Todd, DC was unsure if readers had grown weary of Robin. When Tim Drake was introduced in Batman number 436 in 1989, he was a bit of a question mark. Those concerns would not last as Tim went from a creative uncertainty to the best to ever don the red, green, and yellow of the Robin costume. Drake became enamored with Batman and Robin at a young age, deducing Batman's secret identity before the age of 10. Turmoil finally brought them together years later, as Bruce was still reeling from the brutal murder of Todd, and Tim had seemingly lost both of his parents, a common occurrence in Gotham, let's be honest. In any case, Tim is widely regarded as the most intelligent of the Robins, displaying detective abilities that have rivaled even Batman's. He has expert knowledge in various scientific fields and speaks several languages fluently. No one has commanded more respect as Robin than Tim Drake. More pragmatic than Grayson and less hostile than Todd, Drake presented himself as a mature middleweight between the two. As Robin, he led the Teen Titans, co-founded Young Justice, and even won the trust of the Man of Steel himself, Superman. He may not be the definitive version of Robin, but no character gave more legitimacy to the mantle of the character than Tim Drake. And that was every Robin ranked from worst to best. Which Robin is your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. Drop the video a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe so you don't miss another upload going forward. I've been Ewan. Catch me hyping up more of Damian and Grant Morrison's Batman in general on Twitter @EwanRuinsThings, and I'll hopefully see you next time. Bye!